Let's jump straight into guide on the ISC² Common Body of Knowledge or CBK change management process. The CBK is a comprehensive framework of cybersecurity best practices used in certifications like CISSP. We will look at how the CBK handles change management by focusing on risk. In cybersecurity, change management is a formal process to make sure any changes to IT systems are done carefully, approved properly, and don't create security risks. The CBK recognizes change management as a critical security function, not merely an operational process. While NIST focuses on specific controls, the CBK focuses on risk and adjusts its approach based on what each organization needs and how much impact a change might have. Let's examine the CBK approach, which we can break down into following key steps that represent the core principles and activities the framework emphasizes for effective change management. Step 1 involves formal documentation of change requests. Unlike NIST's more prescriptive approach, the CBK focuses on content over format, requiring clear documentation of what specific components are changing, business justification for why, and an initial assessment of potential impacts on systems and operations. In step 2, risk assessment is central. Not just a purely technical security, the CBK requires a holistic assessment of the proposed changes impact, including security, business operations, financial outcomes, regulatory obligations, and even reputational considerations. This broader viewpoint ensures that organizations don't just protect technical controls, but also consider how each change might affect business continuity, customer trust, or overall risk exposure. Organizations then create action plans to handle the risk they have identified. These plans include steps to protect security, like testing changes thoroughly and having backup procedures ready. They also include steps to protect the business, like scheduling changes during quiet times and preparing communications for users who might be affected. Step 3, categorization, is important for handling changes efficiently. Changes are classified into three types. Standard changes, these are pre approved routine modifications like password resets. Normal changes, most system modifications requiring full review. And emergency changes, urgent fixes requiring expedited processing. This categorization determines how the remaining steps will be executed. I'll cover these change types in more details shortly. Step 4 involves review by appropriate approval authority. Unlike NIST one size fits all change control board, the CBK scales approval requirements based on risk level and organizational impact. Low risk changes might need only departmental approval, while high risk changes require senior management or formal change board similar to NIST CCB. In step 5, testing requirements similarly scale with risk level. Higher risk changes demand more rigorous validation, including security testing, user acceptance testing, and performance impact assessment, while routine changes may require only basic functional testing. Step 6, stakeholder notification, ensures all affected parties understand what's changing and when. The CBK particularly emphasizes clear communication to avoid operational surprises and prepare users for potential impacts. Step 7, implementation, must enforce segregation of duties, a critical security control where the person approving the change cannot be the same person implementing it. This prevents potential abuse of authority and ensures proper oversight. Step 8, post implementation audit, verifies changes were implemented correctly and securely. This isn't just checking if the change works, but confirming all security controls are functioning properly and no unexpected vulnerabilities were introduced. Lastly, step 9 focuses on process improvement. The CBK requires organizations to collect feedback about the change and its implementation, then use those lessons to improve future change management procedures, creating a continuous improvement lifecycle. The CBK requires organizations to maintain a formal change control policy that sets the rules and procedures for change management. The risk based approach means that higher risk changes get more controls and oversight, while lower risk changes can use simpler processes. Segregation of duties is emphasized as a critical control, ensuring no single individual can approve and implement changes. All changes must be documented with appropriate approvals from designated authorities. The CBK stresses auditability, ensuring all changes can be reviewed during security assessments. Additionally, continuous improvement of the change management process is required with lessons learned incorporated into updated procedures. The CBK places significant emphasis on risk assessment as a core component of change management. Unlike a purely technical security analysis, risk assessment takes a comprehensive view by evaluating security threats and vulnerabilities alongside business impacts like financial losses, operational disruptions, customer satisfaction, regulatory compliance, and market reputation. This comprehensive approach helps organizations protect both their security and their business operations when making changes. For certification exams, remember that the CBK focuses heavily on this complete view of risk, and the exam questions often test whether you can think about both security and business needs together. The CBK explicitly categorizes change into three types, each with different handling requirements. Standard changes are pre approved, routine modifications that follow established procedures, such as scheduled patches or minor configuration adjustments. These typically require minimal review but must still be documented. Normal changes constitute most system modifications and require full process compliance, including formal approval and testing. Emergency changes address urgent security vulnerabilities or system outages. The CBK requires faster approval processes for emergencies, but they must still be reviewed and properly documented after the change is completed. This last point is particularly important. The framework stresses that emergency procedures should not become a loophole to bypass normal controls, and that emergency changes must be reviewed and documented after implementation to maintain security integrity. When setting up CBK change management, two important practices can make it work better. First, connect your change tracking with security monitoring system so all changes are automatically recorded for security teams to review. Second, regularly look at how well your change management process is working, learning from both changes that went well and changes that caused problems to make your process better over time. It's crucial to focus on specific aspects of CBK change management for certification exams. The CISSP exam requires understanding the complete change management process, with particular emphasis on segregation of duties and risk based approaches. Consider this: a test question describes a system administrator who proposes, approves, and implements a critical change to firewall rules, all without involvement or review by anyone else. What's wrong with this scenario? This violates the principle of segregation of duties. A single individual should not be able to both authorize and enact a change, as this increases the risk of mistakes or malicious actions going undetected. For all certification exams, here's an important tip. The best answers, especially for CISSP, don't just focus on technical security, but also consider business impacts. When choosing between similar options, always pick the answer that addresses both perspectives. I hope this overview helps you understand the CBK change management approach and its role in balancing security with business needs. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next cybersecurity video.